Well, good evening and welcome to Donington Park for round 2 of the NXTGEN Power Max Racing iRacing Legends here at Donington Park, as we mentioned, in the Midlands region of England, just 120 kilometres northwest of the capital of London. We're here in Leicestershire at the Donington Park circuit. Should have an overlay, but we don't. Anyway, a little bit more about the track before we get started on today's racing. Circuit owned by the MSV Group, led by Jonathan Palmer, an ex-Formula 1 competitor. And the track, Donington Park, was first opened in 1931, and then over the years has hosted many a race series, including the BTCC every year as part of the TOCA series. It had a brief appearance on the Formula 1 calendar in the 90s, featured as the European Grand Prix and home of the infamous first lap by Ayrton Senna in 1993 on this track, where he went from 5th to 1st in the opening lap in torrential conditions and went on to win the race. A humongous lead, one of the most legendary laps and races of Formula 1 history. DTM has been hosted here in the past, as has many GT race series, and now it decides to appear. So yeah, here we are in the second round of the championship. Last week was Brands Hatch Indy Circuit, this week the Donington Park National Circuit. The layout that's used in the TOCA series, so it misses out the chicane that goes left, which goes down to the Wellington hairpin. It goes into a chicane instead, referred to as Roberts. And we'll go on a tour of the track very, very shortly, so a little bit more housekeeping before we get underway with anything. This is the iRacing Next Gen Legends series, featuring those small cars you can see out there, very, very tiny things, almost reminiscent of the Mini in that it's that small. But the Legends car on iRacing is one of the first cars you'll ever drive, particularly if you're into oval racing, as you start off on the rookie license on iRacing. This will be the first car and the car, as well as the stock car series, you'll have to drive in order to gain oval license reputation. But also these cars have a bit of hidden capability in them in being great racers on road circuits. But this series in particular, hosted by Next Gen Racing, Jamie Dury is the admin of this series, hosted every Wednesday night for the next 10 weeks now. There's a week off in the middle, but 10 weeks from now it will be towards the end of the series, so plenty to watch week by week on Wednesday nights here on Next Gen's Facebook page or Crest Autosport's YouTube and Twitch channels, as we are providing the streams for this series. But we started off last week at the Brands Hatch Indy Circuit, and this week we're at the Donington Park National Circuit in Leicester. Then we're over to America for the first time in the series, the circuit in the Connecticut state, it's Lime Rock Park, another one of the tracks that you will first race at if you are new to iRacing. Then we're back in the UK and a little bit to the west and north to Alton Park Island Circuit for round 4 in Cheshire. And then down to Northamptonshire. Round 5 is at the Silverstone National Circuit, which is largely used in the TOCA series. Then we have a week off in between rounds 5 and round 6, where we'll be off to Snetterton, and not the traditional layout used for TOCA and GT series. We'll be using the 200 layout, which is more its classic, a form of its classic layout, where there's less of an infield and it's more the outer loop of Snetterton. So it'll be very, very fast and a very, very, well, that's all there's to explain about the track. It'll be very, very quick at Snetterton that day. Then we're back over to the States for round 7 for the Daytona International Speedway, but the bike course, so not the road course that's synonymous with Daytona 500, but the bike course, which is synonymous with, well, I'm not sure what it is synonymous with, bikes I presume, but a little bit of a different layout. So what's known as the 24 hours, I said the 500, I meant the 24 hours at Daytona. Anyway, round 8 is the last of the road circuits, and I'll explain a little bit about that in just a second, but Oran Park in Australia is round 8. Now a fictional circuit, as it has been demolished since I think it was 2003, but an old Australian circuit which is a little bit similar to Suzuka, where it crosses over itself with a bridge. But yeah, Oran Park's a great track. Looking forward to round 8 very much. And then rounds 9 and 10 are on ovals, but 2 different types of ovals. The regular Bristol Motor Speedway, not in Britain, the Bristol in, I think it's Georgia, could be wrong about that, for round 9 of the championship on a tarmac oval, and then the final round is on a dirt oval. So this series really getting all mediums of iRacing into one series in some way or form. and also getting a lot of diversity and skill from the drivers, having to adapt to different types of race courses and different mediums of racing. So it's going to be a very exciting series. We have qualifying coming up very, very shortly, in just a few minutes' time, which will follow immediately with a 15-minute race. Then we'll go away for a quick intermission. We'll also have interviews in this stream today, but we'll come back for race 2, and it says qualifying on the poster there, but actually it has been changed to a reverse 10. So the results of race 1 will determine the grid for race 2 and the top 10 reversed. Maybe another 15-minute race. Then race 3 will be exactly the same format, a reverse top 10 of the race 2 results and a 15-minute sprint race. So, that's all the housekeeping out of the way. So let's have a little bit of a sit rep on how the championship is going before we go into that. Just a report on the standings in practice at the moment. Bobby Thompson, who lit up the place 1 week ago, along with his teammate Mikey Doble, is top of the standings at the moment. Chaz Cleland, who's a little bit quiet last week, he's up in second, a brilliant showing from him so far in practice. And Mikey Doble, championship leader, third in practice at the moment, so still mighty impressive from the Ivy Avenue driver. So as we mentioned, we are going to look at the driver's standings coming into today. There they are. Mikey Doble had a very good showing. No wins to his name last week, but second all the way through. Second twice to Bobby Thompson's first place finishes in the first 2 races, and then second behind Matt Allen. But plenty of points as he gains a 13-point lead above Matt Allen in second place there, who had a brilliant third race, opened up a lead and kept it to the end. Bobby Thompson was second on the grid in both qualifying sessions, I believe. Yes, he was, as Mikey Doble out-qualified him, but was too much for the races as he got 2 first-place finishes. But a disappointing race 3 meant he dropped quite a lot of points to his teammate and now championship rival, 17 points behind. So that's the top 10 in the championship coming into tonight, and we're about to start qualifying. So we'll tick over to the session very, very shortly. Here we go, the session has ticked over, so drivers will leave the pits for qualifying. So there we go, first out on track is the 666 machine, Colin Martin, who, I've got to be honest about Colin, he was very unlucky last week, involved in a lot of incidents, some of which weren't his fault. I'm sure the stewards had something to do with some of the incidents later on, which I can't remember the results of, unfortunately for you guys. But Colin Martin, not a great start to qualifying there, as he goes straight into the wall, damaging his car, and he'll have to come back to the pits. So we'll move on to the others. Dave Newsham, former BTCC driver, one of the 2 in this series out there, in amongst the group of cars, and I assume this is going to be very much a case of people swapping positions on this opening lap as they try to establish where they want to be on track and who they want to be behind, because draft is crucial, but also catching up with another driver will detriment your lap, as it's not easy to overtake here, particularly in these legends. Watching Jeff Perkis there in the Scooby-Doo Mystery Machine. Michael Seal there as well. He had a good showing at Brands Hatch. Plenty of top 5 finishes and contending with the leaders, particularly in race 2, as he got pole position. And he's following close behind Bobby Thompson there. So what we'll do is we'll go on board with Bobby Thompson for a lap of Donington Park. So into the first corner. Redgate, long right-hander. Third gear. Here we go. Towards Hollywood as he goes past Ollie Peters on the left there. Through Hollywood and now down through the crane of curves. Into 5th gear, the highest gear in these cars. Down the hill into the old hairpin. A little bit of a twitch at the rear end, but nice and clean through that. Actually gone too wide, and that will invalidate Bobby Thompson's lap. He'll have to try again, but we'll carry on. Under Starkey's Bridge he went then. Now up to McLean's. Down to 3rd gear. Yes. Comes through the corner, nice and clean through there, a little bit of the back end stepping out as he goes a powers his way through the corner, up to Coppice, down to third gear again. Nice long corner here. You cannot let the back end step out too much. You need good momentum coming out of Coppice onto this long straight of Starkey Straight, which will come down into the final two corners of the circuit. Robert Chicane braking now down to third gear, taking plenty of the curve, but not too much, as they're very steep curves. That was actually a very good lap from Bobby Thompson, in my opinion, but just the exception of running wide through the old hairpin. But that is a lap of Donington Park, around about 120 we're expecting to see today. So Chaz Cleland at the moment, top of the standings, as he was behind Bobby Thompson, so had a good example of lines right in front of him. It's a very distinctive livery on Chaz Cleland's car. Is that? Yeah, Krusty the Clown on the back of it. We'll have to get a closer view to see what that actually is on the back of his car there. But pole position at the moment for Cleland of a 118.8, and just behind him is Mikey Doble, championship leader, pulling over, going to reset and get some new tyres on. And he'll come back out onto the track. There is Bobby Thompson. And behind him, Michael Seals still. Matt Allen as well in the number 10 machine. Matt Allen, the winner of race 3 last week. Down Starkey Straight into Robert Chicane. Third gear, through he goes, not taking too much of the curb. And he'll come across the line. So let's see how Bobby Thompson gets on that lap. Bobby Thompson goes top with a 118.6, pulls over to reset his car, as does Matt Allen. Chaz Cleland, though, actually gone even quicker, only 4 thousandths quicker than Bobby Thompson's lap set just then, but a 118.665, not too far ahead of Bobby Thompson at all. In fact, on the timings it says he's 5 thousandths above, but the relative says 4 thousandths, so we'll go for 4.5 thousandths. We'll go down the middle on that one. But the top 4, Cleland, Thompson, Doble and Allen. And now watching Matt Allen as he comes out onto his outlap. Let's see how other drivers are getting on. Let's see, check out the NXTGEN residents, as Lee Horn, very appropriately changed to him. As I said his name, it must be listen to me. No command from me there, but Lee Horn, 9th place at the moment. Oh, as he goes off, going into McLean's. And he stops it just before the toes in. He'll have to reset his car to try again. Jamie Dory starting an outlap, I believe. Jamie Dory was centre of attention last week in that he was involved in much of the big battles that happened in all 3 races. There was a great battle to watch in race 2 between 5 cars involving him. There was Dan Holland as well, I believe. Many drivers involved in that. It was great to watch. Dory had some good results then. He's got himself quite a high place in the championship. Back with Matt Allen, 4th at the moment, 3/10 off top spot, belonging to Cleland. He's got a little bit of a draft in front of him from the 99 machine of Gavin Allen. Now, I did ask last week, are these two related? Are they brothers or anything like that? Someone please tell me, because I haven't found out yet. Let's see what else is on our track. Number 3 machine of Jonathan Gibbs here in 7th place. A very smart livery on that car. Yellow's my favourite colour, so I approve. Mellow yellow, it says on the back there. I agree. So, he comes on to the main straight. Is this going to be a new lap time from Jonathan Gibbs? He comes across, and it is an out lap, I believe, so he'll start a brand new lap. But he has got Bobby, that wasn't Bobby Thompson. He's got the number 9 machine behind him, which was Dan Holland. Oh, as he went wide was Gibbs. He slipped it sideways and had to recover. But in front of Holland here in the Oreo machine is Matthew Addy. Very, very cool livery that I presume he got off Trading Paints. And speaking of good liveries, once I found the driver, there is Morgan Short with the Tennessee Honey livery. Fantastic livery to look at. So with enough of that, let's have a look at lap times set by drivers across the grid. Ollie Peters has got himself into 7th place. He'll complete another lap here. Will he get himself higher? 19.917, so not far off his personal best, but 7th at the moment for Ollie Peters. He got a podium placing last week. Still only 4,000 a second between the top two. Will that change? Not sure. There's only 2 minutes to go. Thank you, Dan Allen. I presume you're related as well to them, but they, Gavin and Matt Allen are brothers, and they race Legends now and the MX-5. So thank you for that. I might be calling upon the audience to let me know a bit more about these drivers. Know a thing or two about most of them. As Ollie Peters runs wide, coming out of McLaren's there to see the number 3 machine again of Jonathan Gibbs and the number 9 here of Dan Holland. Not too far ahead. Still getting a draft from Matthew Addy ahead of him. Michael Seal got a draft from William Fall ahead of him. Michael Seal in the Fast Art Esports machine. Where's McLaren's now? Seal was much quicker in qualifying last week at Brands. In fact, he got pole position in race 2, as we mentioned earlier, so you'd have expected him to be a little bit higher in the standings today. Mikey Doble is setting times. I can see he's not too far off his personal best, but he's still not beating his time. As a spin there from Matthew Addy. When you push these cars just a little bit beyond what they're capable of, they do let go so quickly. The drivers highlighted black on the tower there are drivers who are in the pits, and you can see Bobby Thompson, Mikey Doble and Alan and Cleland have now gone to the pits, so they've had enough. So the driver that's still out there's probably closest to contending with those drivers with the little time we got left, just 10 seconds left of the session. So once they complete their lap, once the time has expired, that's it. They won't be able to do any more. Dan Highland is probably the only opportunity you guys will get if you want anyone to hamper the top 4 here. The checker flag out for the qualifying session now, so when drivers start completing their laps, that will be it. The drivers still giving it a go, 5th and 8th notably. Staying out there, so they must believe that they can get a little bit more out of their times, as does William Ford back there. But let's have a look at Dan Holland. He'll be first across the line, and then followed by Jonathan Gibbs. Roberts, and he pulls over Jonathan Gibbs, trying to get a bit more of a draft. He comes across the line, and it was a slower lap time, so not much is going to change on the standing. In fact, there's only 3 people still out on track. One of them's Lee Horn, who I believe now has pulled over. Tom Delaney comes across the line, keeps himself 18th, so I think that will be it. Only Stevens still out there. Bermuda, that's a nationality I haven't quite seen on iRacing for a very long time. I think I recognise this driver. Number 11 machine. The only one still out on track. Soon the drivers will set to the grid and will reveal to you the grid for today's race 1. But pole position, Chaz Cleland. 2nd place, Bobby Thompson, and championship leader lines up 3rd, Mikey Doble. So there we go. This will be the grid for race 1 tonight. Chaz Cleland on pole position with a 118.6, just 0.04 of a second ahead of Bobby Thompson alongside him in 2nd place. Mikey Doble 3rd, and then Matt Allen in 4th place. 5th place, Dan Holland with Stephen Daly in 6th place. Ollie Peters will line up 7th place. Jonathan Gibbs in 8th. Michael Seal in 9th. Jamie Dury in 10th of the Next Gen Racing Legends machine. Morgan Short in 11th. Lee Horn, another Next Gen driver, in 12th place. Colin Martin in 13th with Gavin Allen 14th. 15th and 16th, Newsham and Perkis. Addy and Delaney on the 9th row, 10th row, Foyle and Alex Ward. Stevens and Gale will line up 21st and 22nd. 23rd, Crosby. 24th is Tom Porter. That rounds out the back grid. 12 rows, 24 drivers on the grid here for what will be the opening race of the night here in the Next Gen iRacing Legends. Watching Chaz Cleland there on the starting grid, getting ready to go. Still drivers lining up on the grid, and we'll get underway very, very shortly. There we go. The lights are appearing. 1 light, 2 lights, 3 lights,
green
4
flag,
lights,
green
5
flag.
lights, and a green flag as we're informed. Away they go. And it's a good start from Chaz Cleland in first place there in the pink 33 machine. Bobby Thompson slots behind, and it's side by side between 3rd and 4th going into Redgate. Through they go. Chaz Cleland leads the way at the end of the first corner. Watching Ollie Peters, I think, there as we go through the Craner curves now. Jonathan Gibbs we're watching there behind Ollie Peters, who is in 7th place. Through they go. No swaps of position in the top 8 thus far. Oh, and it's a spin for Jonathan Gibbs. Jonathan Gibbs has gone well off-road. Has he kept it out the wall? I believe he has. But he'll resume at the back of the grid. Oh, and look at this, already side by side at the, for 4th place here between Dan Holland, Matt Allen into Coppice they go. In front goes the number 9 machine, slipping very, very sideways, and now a 3 wide situation coming out the corner. No, not quite. As slotting behind goes Matt Allen, pushing Dan Holland down the straight here. The Ivy Avenue machine on the inside, which is Stephen Daly. But through they go. But at the end of lap 1, leading the race is Chaz Cleland, who breaks the slipstream of Bobby Thompson behind. Through they go. Look at all them Legends cars coming down the main straight here as Ollie Peters goes to the inside of Matt Allen. He's got the position so far. Can he hang on to it? So far he can. As wide goes Stephen Daly onto the grass, and he managed to get it back on, and there's contact between Daly and Allen. Into the wall they both go, and that'll be race over for the pair of them. It was both going into one space on the track, but that looks like race over for one of them, and I think it was Allen. Which of the Allens you're probably thinking right now? Matt Allen. And there's a crash from Ian Crosby further back in the grid. So through. Okay, maybe not. It was, oh, there we go. Spin. That's Dave Newsham who spun, in fact, and collected Crosby. With a lot of disconnections and technical glitches going on there for the drivers. Cleland still leads the way, ahead of Bobby Thompson, who's not letting him get away. So, who's the biggest mover so far? Morgan Short up 6 places to 5th place at the moment. Brilliant start for the Jack Daniels Tennessee Honey Legends machine, but on the inside back here, that's Lee Horn versus Ollie Peters, and also behind them is Jeff Perkis versus Michael Seal, but Horn and Peters alongside as they go through Redgate, still side by side coming out the corner. Down through the corner curves they'll come now. still side by side. Ollie Peters just in front. Now going into the old hairpin. Jeff Purkis taking a look to the inside of Lee Horn, but not close enough. Gets a good run out, does Jeff Purkis. And he's got Seal behind him. It's just a trail of Legends cars. Purkis goes to the inside, which will be the outside for McLean's. Braking now, but up the inside goes Seal. He took the opportunity and Purkis left the door open. Now going up towards Coppice. The inside is taken by Seal, but Purkis had a good run coming out of McLean's. Through the corner they go on, they've made contact and they collect another car. They still keep going, but Seal slipped it sideways. Having made contact with Purkis and the car just lifted up in the air. That drops him a few positions, but he's so lucky to still be going. He might have a little bit of damage on that car, but he can still carry on with the race, thankfully. Back towards the battle for 5th place. Oh, and slipping sideways is, who was that? I think that's Adam no it's not. Alex Ward, do excuse me for not recognising the drivers, but Alex Ward slipping sideways coming out of the chicane. Drops a few places. Oh, and look at this battle still. Oh no, that's other drives. That's William Fall versus the 27 machine of Adam Gale. Side by side through Redgate, still side by side. Go through the crane of curves now. And look at this, Matthew Addy trying to join the party. And William Fall slots back behind Gale. Oh, as Gale runs wide, slipping sideways, and look at everyone just swerve to avoid because they know how reactive these cars are. And a little bit of damage on the rear bumper of William Foyle there might not hamper him too much, but he gets the position. Danger Stevens there. Got a feeling that's Kip Stevens in actual fact, as I remember him. 16th place at the moment, climbed 5 places, taking Gale with him behind him. Gale dropped off a little bit from the brief going wide previously. Stevens goes to the inside, well to the inside to take a look at Addy, but will not take the position. Back with this battle for 5th place. It's getting a bit close between these 5 drivers. Ollie Peters now looks to the outside of Jamie Dury, and he's got Lee Horn, the other next-gen machine, behind him. Round the outside through Redgate, can he complete the move? Ollie Peters still side by side with Jamie Dury. Let's get on board with Ollie Peters just to see what his view of the battle is. There's Jamie Dury, you still can't see each other. Look how close they are now, going into the old hairpin. Who will get the better line? Still side by side, and Ollie Peters might have found his way through. Brilliant bound from the pair of them. And look, Lee Horn now at the inside of Jamie Dury and might have got the position very quickly here. And they've got Jeff Purkis joining in now. Purkis is following Lee Horn through on Jamie Dury as they go into McLean's. Horn has taken the position, but Jamie Dury not giving up by the looks of it. A good run coming out of McLean's. These cars, they just slip them sideways a little bit and they lose so much momentum. But Jamie Dury down 2 places in near enough a lap, and got a report back at the front. Bobby Thompson slipped down to 3rd behind Mikey Doble. These two were battling pretty much all night long on a week ago, with Bobby Thompson getting the better of Doble all night. They've got new livery this week, a bit more distinctive is what Bobby Thompson wanted. Back with this battle. Ollie Peters takes 6th place, up 1 place. Lee Horn is up 5 places, just ahead of Jamie Dury there. Brilliant start for him, and up 7 places is the mystery machine of Jeff Purkis. Scooby G likes to call himself, as he likes Subarus, and I think he sounds a bit like Scooby-Doo sometimes. So maybe that's the reference. Oh, and wide goes Lee Horn. Jamie Dury will take the position back, gets right back in front of him. 7th place is back for Dury, but they are seriously losing out on Ollie Peters, who is closing in on short ahead of him. So, biggest mover of the race so far, up 7 places. We haven't mentioned him yet. Tom Delaney, a very fiery 555 machine there. Up 7 places, the biggest mover so far of the field, as is William Ford, just 2 places back in 13th place there. And it's been progress back here. Oh, it's Bobby Thompson. That's Bobby Thompson off the track and presumably race ruined. Going through the chicane there, took too much curb, slipped it sideways, and that was it. onto the grass and just about didn't collect his teammate. Probably sacrificed himself to take him off the track. But that's it for Bobby Thompson. It's another race retirement. Potentially. No, he's still going. He's resumed. He's got a lot of damage on that car, but he's still in 11th place. So he'll try and get back up the order. We've got to look at these two, though. It's Jeff Perkins versus Jamie Dory. Yes. No, Lee Horn. Excuse me, same livery, different numbers. But through goes Jeff Perkins and Tom Delaney, biggest mover of the grid so far, closing up on Lee Horn. Oh, no, sorry, Colin Martin closing up on them. Same liveries, different numbers. Into the plains they go. But just to take a look at the front here, Mikey Doble with Bobby Thompson out the way. He's now got clear air ahead of him to try and catch Cleland. And Cleland is lapping very, very well at the moment. 1.4 seconds clear. Looking very good for Cleland. What will be his first win of the season if he can maintain this. Short is up to 4th place, but he's got Ollie Peters to worry about. And onto the podium now is Dan Holland, the number 9 machine. Back with this battle back here. And up towards the battle for 4th place. Ollie Peters has got himself ahead, excuse me, of Morgan Short. Let's just take another replay to see what happened there. It was just a good exit from the chicane to get himself past. Lee Horn still following Jeff Perkins. They've slipped away a little bit from Colin Martin behind them. All dispersing a little bit, these own little silo battles happening on track now. Let's look a bit further up as Morgan Short defending the inside from Jamie Dory, who's broken away from the battle behind, closed in on Short and Peters. Brilliant lapping on the last lap and a half from Jamie Dory to get back up into the battle for the top 5. But Morgan Short and Ollie Peters ahead of him are in the top 5, so Dory will have his eyes set on that, and wide back there went Lee Horn. Just pushing a little bit too hard, tyres on the grass, and that was it. That will promote Colin Martin up 1 place to 8th place. There he is, Colin Martin himself. Lee Horn dropping back a little bit there. He's got to defend with Tom Delaney now. Delaney in 10th place. He was a bit quiet last week. We didn't mention him much, didn't see much of him. But this is a very good start to his night tonight in 10th place. 8 places gained. But Jeff Perkins is the biggest mover now on 9 places gained. Up to 7th place is a brilliant showing from Jeff, who, if you're a fan of the Crest Autosport channel and the NXTGEN channels in actual fact, know him very well in the WTCR series and the DTMs, which happened last night on the Crest Autosport channels. Oh, as he runs wide, I better not have jinxed him. No, I haven't done it. Thank you. But Jeff might lose. He has lost a lot of momentum. Might concede the position here to Colin Martin. Martin gets up the inside, holds the apex, and a brilliant move from Martin to get himself into 7th place. Still a battle raging on between these 3. Short versus Peters ahead of him. Dory behind him. A good run coming out of Coppice from Short. He'll follow Peters all the way down, using as much slipstream as he can, but can't get it up the inside going into the chicane. We'll back out and we'll try again on another corner. Let's just keep our eyes on the front. And Cleland is lapping extremely well. Doble was a phenomenal force last week, 2nd all across the board. But Cleland has really mastered this circuit right here, right now in this race. Clear by 2 seconds ahead of Doble, and they're clear of Holland, who's having a very quiet race, but got to give him a mention as he's 3rd place at the moment. We'll take that final spot on the podium at the moment. Brilliant showing from Dan there. Battle for 4th rages on between these 3. Ollie Peters got himself a podium last week in, I think it was race 2. And Morgan Short was very unlucky last week, involved in a lot of battling, but he's put it up the inside into McLean's of Ollie Peters. Oh, and he got it a bit sideways, had to correct it, and he'll lose the position back to Peters, and will lose another position to Dory. Dory is now going to try his slingshot move and an undercut on Ollie Peterson, got himself up the inside. Brilliant move from Jamie Dory thus far. If he can hang on to it going into the chicane, got a bit of room to the left of him. He might need it for the chicane, but Ollie Peterson slipped back in front with a bit more speed down the straight. Brakes later and gets back in front. Ollie Peters hangs on to fourth at the moment. Jamie Dory nearly losing the rear end on the grass there, and there's a spin. Who was that? I think that was Colin Martin. Colin Martin spun it into the wall there. Let's just take a look. He just slipped it wide. Oh, and he's hit the wall, so that will damage his engine and car considerably. Unfortunately for him, he's driving such a good race as well, was Martin. Tom Delaney up another place to 9th. That's Jamie Dory still alongside Short again. Going into the old hairpin, the inside is held by Short. But Dory will try the undercut. It's so easy to do it in these cars as long as you can keep the rear end in shape. But they are so low on power, it's hard to get the upper hand of acceleration on any of these drivers. They don't draft particularly well either as we've seen with Short versus Peters on the previous lap. Let's go back to the front. I think he'll get another lap, but Cleland will come through the chicane to start the final lap. And I think something has happened to Morgan Short. I knew I shouldn't have come away from that. Let's try and get a replay of that. Oh, and he went wide. I think it was just understeering that took him into Jamie Dory, but that's him out of contention for the top 5. Back into 15th place. That promotes Lee Horn up to 6th, but Jeff Perkins up 11 places in this race to 5th place, and he'll have to try and hang on to it ahead of Jamie Dory and Lee Horn, as Jamie Dory has dropped back. Maybe he saw that he may have been the cause of what took out Morgan Short, and maybe perhaps try to wait for him. But I suppose it would be something that the stewards they might have to look at after the racing tonight. Delaney's up 10 places to 8th place. A brilliant showing from him in this race. Bobby Thompson, a good recovery despite all the damage on his car, in 9th place at the moment. But Cleland on his way to victory. First of the season for him in the pink 33 livery. Mikey Doble, another 2nd place for him. That's 4 in a row he'll have if he gets it to the line in this position. But Cleland through the final chicane to end the race here. The first race of the night is taken by Chaz Cleland, number 33. A brilliant win from lights the flag for him. Mikey Doble will come through in 2nd place. Dan Holland, a quiet race, but he'll like that. 3rd place on the board for him. Good points for him tonight. Ollie Peters will come through in 4th place, defending ruthlessly to put it there in the top 5. And Jeff Perkins up 11th places. Brilliant showing from him in this race in 5th place there. Lee Horn has had a pretty good season. Thank you for doing that, Lee. Right on broadcast. NXTGEN 6 and 7. Tom Delaney up 10 places to 8th place. Bobby Thompson with a spin in the chicane earlier on in the race will be 9th. And rounding out the top 10, and we'll have pole position for race 2, Stephen Daly. Wow, what a race we saw there. Lots of people dropping off the top 10. Gibbs was one of them. Gale was one of them. Morgan Short was another. I'll have to turn off that chat as we go for an interval, but we'll see if we can drag in someone for an interview before we break away to more racing later on. Can we get Chaz Cleland in the chat? No, probably not. Who else are we going to talk to? Well, none of the top dogs are available for an interview, so it'll probably have to be something we try and get later on. But let's have a round out of your results. There they are, your classified results of this race. Chaz Cleland, 1st place, with Mikey Doble in 2nd place. Dan Holland, sorry, in 3rd place, with Ollie Peters in 4th. Jeff Perkins 5th with Lee Horn in 6th. Jamie Dory battling ferociously as ever in 7th place. Tom Delaney gaining plenty of positions to 8th. Bobby Thompson 9th, but he'll start 2nd for race 2. And Stephen Daly will put it 10th in this race and pole position for the race coming up very, very shortly. Well, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. That was race 1 of the night. We'll be back very soon with what will be race 2 tonight. Another 15-minute race where, as we mentioned, the grid is formed from the results of race 1 with the top 10 are reversed. Don't go away. We'll be back very, very shortly. The GP Box is an online marketplace for motorsports merchandise and memorabilia. Browse for a whole range of motorsports products in all forms of motorsport. Take Formula 1 for example. There is a whole section dedicated to Formula 1 products from your favourite drivers, cars, teams or tracks from all eras of Formula 1. There are more series available, including WRC if you are a rally fan. You can even search for your favourite form of motorsports to see what products they have in your favourite forms of motorsport. Or, if yourself are a retailer in motorsport, you could set up your own shop within the GP Box to open up your products to a much bigger motorsport audience. Find out more at thegpbox.com.
The GP Box is an online marketplace for motorsports, merchandise and memorabilia. Browse.
Welcome back. Excuse me. To the Next Gen Power Max Racing WTCR, not WTCR, iRacing Legends League. Out of habit saying that when it decides to turn up. Never mind. Well, I'm sure we'll get it soon. But yeah, here at the Donington Park National Circuit in Leicestershire, in Middle England. The drivers will head out on their practice runs as they prepare for race 2, which will be a reverse 10. The top 10 finishers of the previous race will reverse to form the grid for race 2 here. And I was informed in the intermission that the final race of the night, I said it was a reverse 10 earlier. It's not. It's a full reverse grid, and our overlay decides to work. A little bit of a bug with that since the update, it seems, so I'll sort that out for next time. But yes, a full reverse grid for race 3 after this one, which will be very, very entertaining, particularly from some British touring car drivers and sim racing touring car drivers that I familiarise with on this grid. Our overlay being very, very slow with us today. Trying to show you what's going on, but I tell you what we'll do with a little bit of housekeeping before we get underway. We're in about 6 minutes time. This is how the season is going to form out over the next 10 weeks or so. We started off last week at the Brands Hatch Indy Circuit, and now we're here at Donington Park in Leicestershire. Next week, we're off to America for Lime Rock Park in Connecticut. Then we're back here in the UK for Alton Park. And then round 5 will be the Silverstone National Circuit. A break in between rounds 5 and 6, and we'll resume for round 6 at the Snetterton 200 layout, which is the classic layout we knew of before its rebuild some years ago. Round 7 at Daytona, but not the road course, the bike course. Non-conventional layout of the Daytona. And then round 8, the fictional, non-existent track of Oran Park. What did once exist, but demolished now, so it's pretty much a fictional track. But round 9 and round 10, something slightly different. Two things slightly different. As we head to the Bristol Motor Speedway, not Bristol in the UK, the one in America, which hosts some very, very tight, compact NASCAR racing for round 9. And then another medium of iRacing. So featuring 3 of the 4 that iRacing gives you will be a dirt oval final at the Lanier Speed Park for round 10. And as we mentioned on the right there, it does say race 1 quali and 15 minutes race, which is right, but race 2 is not quali and 15 minutes racing. It will be a reverse 10 of the race 1 finishers and a 15-minute race, and race 3 is not a reverse 10, it's a reverse full. So we'll see if we can get that updated for next time. But explained it to you, so you get the gist of it right about now. We will have to go for a quick intermission now. We have got a technical issue, but we will be back, and we'll be back in for the racing of race 2. Don't go away, we'll be right back. Here we go, a working overlay again, finally. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. As it disappears again, rather appropriately on us. But race 2 coming up very, very shortly here. So, we'll get the grid up for you shortly for race 2. But on pole position, will start Stephen Daly, who we're watching there in the 64 machine. Alongside him will be BTCC star Bobby Thompson. Just before we get going, I was going to show you the championship standings coming into tonight, but we will show you the grid instead, which doesn't want to appear. Okay, we'll substitute it with this for the time being. But on pole position is Lee Horn, which isn't right. Come on, sort yourself out, overlay. There we go, Stephen Daly's on pole position, Bobby Thompson second, Tom Delaney third, Jamie Dowie fourth, Lee Horn fifth, Jeff Perkis will start sixth, Ollie Peters in seventh, Dan Holland in eighth, Mikey Doble in ninth as he finished second, and first in race 1 will start 10th here, Chaz Cleland. Martin and Stevens will follow on the 6th row, the 7th row taken up by Matthew Addy and Morgan Short. 8th row taken up by William Fall and Gavin Allen, who had drama early on in race 1. Adam Gale and Dave Newsham in 17th and 18th. 19th and 20th, Michael Seal and Matt Allen. 21st.
Green flag, green flag.
Ward and Crosby, but we are underway for race 2. And away goes Stephen Daly off the line. And up towards turn 1 he goes. Apologise, we don't have the overlay working. I am not sure what's going on with it. We'll have to make do with what we've got right here. And Daly comes out leading, coming out of Redgate as they go through the crane curves now. Many issues going on at the moment. We're just trying to repair that as we're watching the action. Yeah, at the front, Bobby Thompson has taken the lead from Stephen Daly. We finally got an overlay working. Slowly getting some liveries back. Into turn 1, Bobby Thompson leads. Daly in second place. Biggest movers so far, up 5 places. Dave Newsham is up to 13th place. 4 places, Dan Holland has got himself up so far, doing very, very well there, up to 4th place where he finished 1 place lower in race 1. Ollie Peters there in 5th place. And look at this battle back here. Lee Horn, Mikey Doble, Chaz Cleland and Jeff Perkis. On the inside there, 14 machine of Doble on the inside of Lee Horn. coming down the main straight. Doble ahead of Cleland there. So Ollie Peters has slipped away, but at the front, Bobby Thompson still just about in front of Daly. Dory's in third place, just ahead of Dan Holland. Holland looking to the inside. He'll try and get himself back on the podium like what he did in race 1, and he is going to find the inside. There he goes on Jamie Dory, who's very close to the rear, but third place gained for Dan Holland, up to where he finished in race 1. A good showing tonight from Holland. Just ahead of Lee Horn here, we've got Mikey Doble in 7th place behind the race 1 winner Chaz Glenn. Oh, and a spin there. Well, a half spin from Lee Horn. He managed to keep it away from the wall. He's got to get it back on the track without obscuring the traffic as William Ford promotes to 10th. Stevens promotes to 11th. Lee Horn down to 12th place after what was looking like a pretty promising night from Mr. Horn. Through the chicane, battle, three-way battle. Peters, Cleland and Doble. Into Redgate to go. Ollie Peters slots behind Cleland, who got it up the inside. I actually missed that, so I'm going to just check that again. Yeah, just a nice straight move up the inside. And the cloud has really come over here at Donington in the last few seconds. Quite dark on the track now as Ollie Peters has repassed Cleland. Yeah, just the undercut coming out of Redgate we spotted. Good battle between these two, and look at that, Cleland slings it up the inside, taking plenty of the curve, and they go side by side coming up towards Coppice now. And on the inside there is Cleland. He'll probably gain the position up to 5th place so far for Cleland as Doble is going to follow him through. Oh, and nearly clanging wheels there, Peters and Doble. They come down towards the chicane now. Who will get the better of the two? Side by side still, and Peters actually loses the rear end. I'm not sure if there's a little bit of contact between the two of them, but Peters will drop to 7th place. At the front, Bobby Thompson still leads from Stephen Daly, who started pole position, hanging on to 2nd place at the moment. Holland up to 3rd, where he finished in race 1, so a good night so far for Holland. And the challenge is if Mikey Doble can get himself up to 2nd place, because that's where he's finished in every race so far this season, to see if he can get up to there again. But it is a full reverse grid in race 3, so got to look to Matt Allen, who's running 23rd at the moment, still running. Seal is all the way down the order here. He did very well at Brands Hatch some time ago, and we actually got to look towards the front. Bobby Thompson, I saw him slipping down the order, but it must have been a connection issue. Still in the lead at the moment. Sorry to panic you if I did. But he's not actually breaking away from Daly behind him. Daly is hanging on very, very well. Lap 1, Thompson got a good start. Got ahead. Daly is not letting him get away. Still within a second, 3/4 of a second. And the biggest movers of the grid so far, well, up 9 places is Ian Crosby in 13th place. Up 9 places, I think I said 13 there. Up 9 places. 6 places gained by Morgan Short, who was in amongst the brilliant battling in race 1 for the top 5. Dropped out eventually with contact from Jamie Dory, but he's back in the top 8 here with Jeff Perkis behind him. Here's Ollie Peters. Back with Lee Horn, he's trying to make his way back up the order. He's in 11th place, trying to gain back on William Ford, who's broke into the top 10 at the early part of this race as we tick over to halfway now. Up 10 places now is Ian Crosby behind Lee Horn there. Himself past Stevens into 12th place. A brilliant start to this race for Crosby, who started from the near back of the grid. Big battle going on here for 16th between Adam Gale, Gavin Allen and Jonathan Gibbs. Down towards the chicane. Gibbs looking to the inside but isn't able to get it. It's not the ideal overtaking opportunity going into the chicane in these cars, but you get a good exit like Gibbs did there. You can get alongside, and he has done with Gale here. Thompson keeps glitching out for me, so that's why I keep checking him. But Gibbs gains position on the straight there, up to 17th place. Thompson still in the top spot. Jamie Dory had something happen to him just a second ago. Let's see if we can capture it. Running slow, and it might have been a slow down penalty, running too wide out of the old hairpin. He loses many positions back to 6th place now. And Cleland, who won race 1, is up to 4th, so not a bad reverse grid race for him. As with Dan Holland, Doble has done well as well there. The trio who are on the podium for race 1 are in 3rd, 4th and 5th at the moment. Battle still for 15th. Now the battle for 10th place. We're going to resume this for the top 10, but they are not worrying about reverse grid contention here, as it's a full reverse grid. If it was race 1, this would be a very tasty battle indeed. But William Full heading the battle at the moment in 10th place. Back there we have got Crosby versus Stevens again. Crosby dropping off a little bit from William Foyle, from Lee Horn ahead of him. Really close in on William Foyle. The two battle quite often over on the NXTGEN Race Room series on Monday nights, which did not happen last night. It was a week off. We're back next week with WTCRs, which will be at Zandvoort. And Stevens gets past Crosby. I think that might have been a slow down being served by Crosby there. Let's take a look back at the front as Thompson still not breaking away from Daly, but it's still looking good for Thompson. Less than 5 minutes to go, 4 minutes to go, near enough. He's got a near 1 second lead over Daly and over 2 second lead to Holland in 3rd. It's all going well for him so far. Cleland there ahead of his race 1 rival Mikey Doble, so still good points for Cleland coming out tonight. Thompson with a win here will certainly help his championship bid. Will make it win number 3 of the season if he can continue here. Only 3 different winners so far this season, so Daly in 2nd place does have a chance. Can gain back on Thompson to make himself the 4th. He is teammates with Bobby Thompson though in the Ivy Avenue liveries, so will he hamper his teammates' performance? Not too sure. We'll have to find out later on in the race if he can catch Bobby. Let's keep an eye. Who else we got? Somebody dropping down the order. William Full has run wide, dropping out of 10th place. He had Lee Horn alongside him and just went a little bit too wide. And on the grass, he'll let through Stevens, Crosby and Horn. Stevens battling for the top 10 now, with Lee Horn right ahead of him. Horn, who's dropped 5 places to 10th in this race so far, but still another top 10 placing for Lee Horn, which he will not be disappointed about.
Oh, and the sideways there was William Fall back there. We just about saw that, and he'll concede a position to Colin Martin, who gets in front of William Fall. Fall dropping many positions in the last few laps, or just under a lap, in fact. We want to forget about that very, very quickly, and perhaps try again to get back up the order. Other side of the track now. Bobby Thompson still in the lead here. It's very back and forth between him and Stephen Daly. And so I thought something was going on back here. There wasn't, but let's get back towards the front now. Doble's still real close behind Cleland. Top three in race one, doing very well here at the moment, third, fourth and fifth, in a slightly varying order. Jamie Dory with another good showing here, sixth place at the moment for him, down 2 places but still in the top 6. I believe he finished 7th in race one. And this is Stevens, who's dropped off a little bit from Lee Horn. And further back, Dave Newsham, we haven't mentioned him much tonight, battling with Gibbs just ahead of him. We're slowly getting back a lot of the liveries here, and he's got Allen behind him. Specifically, Gavin Allen, the 99 machine. Dave Newsham looked very promising at Brands Hatch, but had a little bit of bad luck tonight. It just hasn't hooked up for him. Look back at the front. I keep getting tricked with Bobby Thompson falling down the order, but he doesn't. He keeps blinking out for us. But 6/10 still between them, and this will probably be the final lap of the race. So, pedal to the metal for Daly. And I believe this top 3 are all in Ivy Avenue liveries. So, 1, 2, 3 for the team. And Bobby Thompson's gone wide at the old hairpin. That makes Daly close it on him. It won't be a move just yet. But will he have the momentum to carry it through to Coppet? Maybe. Through they go. Thompson leads the way coming out of McLean's. Guards the inside going up towards Coppis, goes back onto the racing line. Through the corner they go. Can Daly get a good run out of the corner? Let's find out. He's taken a much deeper line and will slot behind in the slipstream. Bobby Thompson goes to the fend to the inside for the chicane. It's not the easiest place to overtake, so Daly's not sure what to do. He ought to have to try and get a good run through the corner to try and get Thompson coming out of the chicane. Big power through the chicane here, but Thompson will take the win. It wasn't enough for Daly to get a run coming out of chicane. Thompson wins race 2 and his third win of the season. Daly comes through in second, and Cleland manages to get third in the end, getting past Holland on the final phase of the race there. Holland in 4th, Doble in 5th, Jamie Dory in 6th place. Ollie Peters will come through in 7th. Jeff Perkis comes through in 8th place. Morgan Shaw in 9th, up 5 places. Lee Horn dropping 5 places to 10th after running wide earlier on. Colin Martin in 11th. Stevens in 12th. William Foyle 13th. Adam Gale 14th. 15th for Tom Delaney. Gained many places in race 1, has lost many in race 2, unfortunately for him. Dave Newsham, much better showing in race 2, there in 16th. Jonathan Gibbs in 17th. Well, certainly a different racing contrast in race 2 there. We definitely saw people progress up the order much slower than they did in race 1. But here are your classified standings of race 2. And we'll progress into race 3 very, very shortly. But Bobby Thompson takes his 3rd win of the season. Daly from pole position finishes 2nd, just a tiny bit of time behind Thompson. Cleland in 3rd place, making it another podium for him tonight. Dan Holland in 4th, Mikey Doble in 5th. And last of the runners was, I think... Yes, Matt Allen. So Matt Allen, 23rd place. It would be a reverse 23. And he'll start on pole position with Alex Ward alongside him. It'll be a very exciting race 3. I'm pretty sure about that. But don't go away, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back very soon with race 3 coming right up. The GP Box is an online marketplace for motorsports merchandise and memorabilia. Browse for a whole range of motorsports products in all forms of motorsport. Take Formula 1 for example. There is a whole section dedicated to Formula 1 products from your favourite drivers, cars, teams or tracks from all eras of Formula 1. There are more series available, including WRC if you are a rally fan. You can even search for your favourite form of motorsport to see what products they have in your favourite forms of motorsport. Or, if yourself are a retailer in motorsport, you could set up your own shop within the GP Box to open up your products to a much bigger motorsport audience. Find out more at thegpbox.com. Welcome back to what will be race 3 of the night here of the NXTGEN iRacing Legends Series.
And a little bit of housekeeping before we get underway tonight. This is the second round of a 10-round season. Last week we were at Brands Hatch Indy Circuit. This week at Donington National Park. Next week, 1 week today, will be at the Lime Rock Park in Connecticut. One of the first tracks you'll ever drive on iRacing, being one of the free ones available on iRacing. Round 4 will be at Alton Park Island layout, as per TOCA usually specifies, and the same with Silverstone at the National Circuit for round 5. We'll have a week break in between rounds 5 and 6, where we'll resume at Snetterton and the outer layout of the 200 layout. Round 7 at Daytona, but not the road course, the bike course, a slightly different layout of Daytona you might not be familiar with. Round 8 at Oran Park, demolished some years ago, an old Australian circuit similar to Suzuka, where there is a crossover on the circuit. Very good track for racing, looking forward to that very much. And then 2 races to end the season, slightly different. Bristol Motor Speedway, synonymous with close compact NASCAR racing, for one of the 2 ovals, and then a dirt oval, Lanier Speed Park, for round 10 to end it all in 10 weeks from now. So, in race 1, it was won by Chaz Cleland, who took pole position, and not very much ahead of Bobby Thompson, 4 thousandths ahead, and held off Mikey Doble, with Bobby Thompson spinning in the mid part of the race. But Chaz Cleland took it to the end to win race 1, and race 2 was won by Bobby Thompson. But who will win race 3, we'll find out very, very shortly. So the final race of the night, as we mentioned earlier on, it is still a 15-minute race, same as the others, but this one slightly different in that the grid is formed by the results of race 2, but a full reverse grid, which will mean 23 drivers reversed, finished 23rd in race 2, which was... good question. Can't remember who it was. We'll find out shortly. We'll start race 3 here on pole position, and the winner of race 2, Bobby Thompson, will start from the back. So it'd be interesting to see those guys who've been very, very quick tonight, Doble, Thompson, and Cleland, coming through the pack. See how they get on with that tonight. It's an interesting difference in skill is coming through the pack. So there's drivers who can lead from the front and can hot lap well, but there's also drivers who are good at coming through the pack, and I'm sure we'll find that out in this race. Dave Newsham we're watching here. He has a good opportunity in race 3 here, being that he finished 18th, so he'll start fairly high up in the grid, 5th if my maths is correct. So do look out for Dave Newsham in this race. He's on track and top of the standings at the moment, making sure he gets the most out of himself, as Colin Martin just about goes quicker, but Dave Newsham quicker again. So Dave's definitely taken this race a little bit more seriously. Not saying he didn't take the previous 2 seriously, but in this one he's definitely out there trying to get as good as he can in that car before it all starts. Mikey Doble out on track, a bit of practice, setting a 1:19.0 straight off the bat. Cleland topping him again, as he has done all night. He's been one of the quickest men on the track tonight, and an 18.6 is a very, very good lap time. Slightly colder conditions, I think, in this race. We show the weather here. Slightly cooler air temperature, 18 degrees.
So the cars will probably go a little bit quicker. It's just the way iRacing works. Whereas in real life, when the conditions are cold, it's very much depending on how many cars are driven on the track. When it's rained recently, how hot it's been or how cold it's been recently. On iRacing, there's none of that. There's, it's just go fast or go home. But what a day it would be when wet weather racing does come to iRacing. If it ever comes to iRacing. Tom Delaney out there practicing just ahead of, I think that's William Four behind him there. And again, we have got issues with the livery system trading paints tonight. It's happening for a lot of drivers, I believe, so we will have to try and identify drivers with the bog standard vanilla liveries that we do have on the ledgers. Not quite as convincing as everyone's smart liveries they got on the car. So apologies to all their sponsors, if there's any sponsors. There's a few liveries loading up as we saw the NXTGEN machine pass by. A few of them aren't working as Trading Paints is having issues right now. Just a few seconds away from practice. We'll get, sorry, the race. Race 3 will get underway very, very shortly. Clellan top of the standings here in practice or warm-up, whatever you like to call it. Very promising for him as he will start near the back. And without further ado, we will show you the grid for today's third race. And that's not the grid. We'll have to reset it. Try again. There we go, that looks more like it. Matt Allen, as I couldn't remember it earlier, will start on pole position. Alexander Ward in second place. Michael Seal in third. Fourth is Gavin Allen. Ian Crosby in fifth. Matthew Addy sixth. Gibbs will start seventh. Dave Newsham in eighth. So I'm conscious of time, so we'll get to the grid and get ready to go racing. Drivers still line up on the grid. You've got Bobby Thompson starting 23rd, and the lights are now on. Chaz Cleland, race 1 winners in 21st, but at the front of the grid, it's Matt Allen and Alexander Ward. Away we go. Bad start for Alexander Ward. Oh, and there's contact further back. There's a NXTGEN machine off. And wide is Ollie Peters as well. There's a lot of cars blinking out, but into turn 1, Matt Allen leads ahead of Michael Seal in second place there. Through the corner they go. Ian Crosby's in third place there. Through they go, and look at this lead already by Matt Allen, just streaming away. He had a good meeting in Brands Hatch, so this could be a good night, a good end to the night for him. Through the crane of curves they go into the old hairpin. All managed to get through safe and sound. Oh, and wide there, that's Alexander Ward again from the front all the way to the back. We'll be disappointed about that. Some of the liveries coming back for us. We can identify some of the cars now. The number 11 machine we're watching there of Stevens being round about the mid-pack for much of tonight. Big mover so far is Chaz Cleland. Oh, there's contact there. Car number 20. Oh, and there's a pile up in the middle of the pack there. We'll have to try and watch that again just to see what happens. Oh dear, really hard to tell. Really hard to tell. Let's see what we go. Number 20 machine just slipping sideways and could not control it. The number 20 machine was Morgan Short. A lot of cars got collected there. Colin Martin's out of the race. Ward is out of the race. I think Bobby Thompson... No, Bobby Thompson's still there or thereabouts. There's a little bit of a strange order going on with our standings here. But Chaz Cleland is up 12 places. We were mentioning before the start of the race here, drivers who can get through the pack fairly quickly. And there's an instant further back. We've got to look at that. I think that's Dan Holland and Morgan Short. I think the two have come together. Yeah, Dan Holland just drifting out wide. And Dan Holland, who finished third and fourth so far tonight. I'm afraid that might have been his fault there for Dan Holland. Going wide into Morgan Short, who's just had no luck this season, collected in all sorts of incidents. Cleland's up to 8th place from the back near the back of the grid. Brilliant showing so far from Jazz. Up to 8th already, he might be able to plough on towards the front if he can maintain this pace with plenty of time to go. He's only on lap 2 at the moment. Back here we've got Stevens and Gibbs in here in 6th place, following Tom Delaney. Into the chicane they go. Just ahead of him is 4th, 3rd and 2nd. Matt Allen at the front here just leading away and cruising away, and it's a 3 wide back here nearly. Matthew Addy at the front of them on the right. In the middle is Gavin Allen, left is Seal, up the inside. Addy closes the door and gets back ahead of them, and Seal gets back into 3rd place by the looks of it, but they're still side by side. A couple of guys behind them trying to line up and move on them as well. That's Gibbs and Delaney. Gibbs in the yellow car, Delaney in the cyan coloured car. Down into the old hairpin, inside is Gibbs. Oh, and he's trying another move on the 99 machine, but couldn't quite get it up the inside enough. Tom Delaney running very wide. He just about keeps hold of it, and on the outside of him is Dave Newsham. Up into 6th place he goes. We did say keep an eye on Dave Newsham here, climbing up the order a little bit, and Cleland up to 7th place now. 14 places gained, and Bobby Thompson's in up 15 places to 8th. And Tom Delaney is just dropping rapidly at the moment, with running wide on one corner has cost him loads of positions, and this is really hotting up between all these drivers. Dave Newsham, he's got Cleland behind him, he's following Gibbs down the main straight here, goes back to defend from Cleland. Into the chicane they go, and look at this, Tom Delaney has got a big move on Bobby Thompson. Oh, and shuts the door, and there's a big collision there. All drivers go spinning there. That's Gibbs, and I think that's the number 99 machine of, who was it? Gavin Allen, so we'll have to watch that again. Dear, how can we watch that again? Trying to find it. Oh dear. Yeah, so coming into the bus stop. Gibbs on the inside. Hits the curb and just went, yeah, the curb just bounced him out, collecting all sorts of cars with him. And yeah, that's why we mentioned earlier, hitting that curb on the inside is perilous. But this really shakes things up a little bit. What has it done to the crowd here? Cleland is still in 5th place. I can't see Bobby Thompson on the standings. Dropped to 8th place at the moment, so he came out not so bad from it, but still dropped off a little bit from the main pack. Dave Newsham in 4th place there, trying to catch up with Addy and Seal. He's got Cleland, the quickest man of the night, closing in. Jamie Dory's up to 6th place, 12 places gained. Just got past Tom Delaney, and Bobby Thompson is going to have to try again to get back through the order from 23rd to 8th so far for him. Oh, and a spin back there from the number 11 car. Stevens. Just cut the corner a little bit too much, and that was it. Matt Allen leading the way rather convincingly, and a gap of 6 seconds ahead of Michael Seal all the way back here. So Allen exiting the McLaren's. These aren't even entering McLaren's, but Chaz Cleland is up to 3rd place. He's found his way past Dave Newsham somehow. Here is the replay for it. Oh, look at this, a 3 wide coming out of Redgate. That was Addy on the outside, but Cleland taking the pair of them coming out of Redgate. Brilliant from him. Can Cleland get a win in this race from near the back of the grid? That would be extraordinary. A podium at the moment is just good enough in my opinion, but what more can we see from Cleland tonight, who's really going to put his championship bid back in contention, gaining rapid points on his rivals. And there's a spin back there from someone, I think it was Tom Delaney. We've got to go back there. see what happened to Tom, unfortunately. But he drops all the way to 14th. Back towards the front. Oh, look at that. Cleland passed Michael Seal. Let's just get a replay of that move. He took to the outside coming out of Redgate and continued around the outside. Had the inside for the corner curves there and into the old hairpin. Got himself in front. Cleland is up to 2nd place. A brilliant showing from him tonight thus far. 19 places gained and we're only on lap 6. 3 places gained per lap on average, an extraordinary achievement so far. But can Matt Allen hang on to this? He was very quick last week at Brands Hatch. He's had a bit of a quiet night tonight. But 7.5 seconds, you've got to say he's fairly safe. He's just got to keep it wired, keep it going. Dave Newsham in 4th place. Oh, and there's a spin back there. Morgan Short is involved, I believe, coming into the chicane. There he is in the 20 machine. We can't see his Jack Daniels livery, unfortunately. Cut the curb too much and collected the number 7 car, which was Ian Crosby. And dropping a few places for him. Addy was in 2nd for much of this race, now in 5th in that Oreo machine. And Cleland in 2nd place has broken away from this battle for 3rd place. In a world of his own now, he can focus on trying to catch Allen. It's going to be very tricky for him to do that. But try he'll do. We've got 6 minutes left of this race. Bobby Thompson, who was on the charge, but collected in an instant earlier on. There's a little bit of tyre smoke there. No dramas though. 6th place behind. Matthew Addy will try for 5th place, and just ahead of him, it's Dave Newsham versus Seal. Newsham trying to get himself on the podium. Brilliant late braking. Can he keep hold of it going into the chicane? Yes, he can. And Bobby Thompson has got himself past Addy and alongside Seal coming out of the chicane. So Dave Newsham is on the podium. Bobby Thompson is after him. He's in 4th place now. Brilliant, brilliant. An overtake past Addy, who's lost a position to Jamie Dory. Got himself past Seal as well. Did Bobby Thompson. But Jamie Dory has also been mightily impressive tonight. Not quite, hasn't been quite up there in the previous races with Thompson and Cleland, but has been scoring big points. And another high placing for him on the cards here today in race 3. There's a Seal versus Jamie Dory, who now has the inside. Seal had much better out in a Brands Hatch. He's a little bit of a sitting duck in this race. And in this corner right now, Jamie Dory all over him, outside of him, coming around McLean's. Brilliant move from Jamie Dory, and he has completed it. Around the outside at McLean's, up to 5th place for him. Cleland breaking away, 6.2 seconds behind Allen, but 4.5 minutes to go. Dave Newsham battling with another BTCC driver, the ultimate showdown we wanted to see in this series. These two going at it. Newsham hasn't had a podium placing yet. Bobby Thompson has had 3 wins to his name this season, with only 5 races completed. You've got to say, after tonight, the championship is very much a throw-up. Doble was the dominant figure in Brands Hatch with 3 straight 2nd place finishes, but Bobby Thompson has been the man to beat, as well as Chaz Cleland. So it could be back to the top for Bobby Thompson. As wide there goes Dave Newsham, and he'll let through Bobby Thompson and Jamie Dory. It'll be back down to 5th, Dave Newsham, but I'm sure he won't give up. He'll try and latch onto the back of these two, as Jamie Dory's now on the outside of Bobby Thompson, going around McLean's. The same move as he did on Michael Seal, potentially. He's trying to do so. Still on the outside as we come up to Coppice, and Dave Newsham's trying the inside of Bobby Thompson. He does it, and he nearly took out Jamie Dory doing it, but what a move from Dave Newsham on the inside of Bobby Thompson. We've got to get a replay of that. Look at that. Bobby Thompson focusing entirely on Jamie, and then realised Dave's there. Just straight up the inside, nearly took out Jamie Dory, but what a move from Dave. Move of the season so far, in my opinion. Up into 4th place, and he'll try and catch back up with Jamie Dory. Nudging the back of him was Bobby Thompson there, trying to get him a move on. Coming up to Redgate for lap 10, and less than 3 minutes to go. Around Redgate. We've been waiting for Dave Newsham to really hit it at the front, but coming out of that corner, Bobby Thompson was much cleaner coming out of Redgate and might have found himself back in front. He'll have the inside for the old hairpin. Yes, he does, and he gets in front. Now Bobby Thompson has to stay in front of Dave Newsham. Be wary of big moves up the inside, like what he did on the last lap, but try and catch back up with Jamie Dory. Credit to Jamie Dory getting stuck in with the BTCC legends. He'll be driving with a big smile on his face, the host of this organisation, battling with 2 BTCC drivers whom he's hosting with. Matt Allen still leading up the front here. The gap between him and Cleland is coming down, but nowhere near enough for Cleland to be threatening Allen unless a mistake happens. But with less than 2 minutes to go, all Allen really has to do is just hook it up and keep it going. Dave Newsham's dropped off a little bit from Jamie Dory. There's a crash back there. That's Michael Seal going into the chicane. He's got Addy behind him. He's got Ollie Peters behind him. Going into the chicane, seems to be no contact. Oh, and he just let it go. And it was a little bit of help from Matthew Addy. But Addy couldn't really help that. And there's another replay to view. This is Matthew Addy on the inside of Ollie Peters. Peters getting it sideways, all wrong coming out of Redgate. Addy gains position back to 6th place. Yeah, Michael Seal, sadly for him, dropping off a lot of places. This is Dory. Hasn't had a podium placing yet. Bobby Thompson has had many a podium finishes this season so far. And just a bit further back, we're checking on Short here, battling with Delaney, as we also have Stevens and Holland ahead of him. Holland with a lot of damage on that car. But back at the front, there'll be one more lap to go for Matt Allen, as he finishes this lap with 25, nearly 20 seconds spare. He'll have another lap to run with Cleland in his mirrors, closing in, but nowhere near close enough to threaten him at the moment. Jamie Dory still battling for that final spot on the podium with Bobby Thompson. It's the Legends host versus a BTCC legend? Maybe. Oh, Jamie Dory very sideways coming out of Redgate, and that just lets through Bobby Thompson. A much cleaner run through Redgate as he did so with Dave Newsham. Gets back past Jamie Dory, pushing it a bit too hard was the NXTGEN driver. But most places gained at the moment is by Bobby Thompson, up 20 places. We did say there's drivers who will be able to get through the pack very well. Thompson and Cleland have done that tonight. And Thompson's breaking away a little bit from Dory here, who has Newsham to worry about now. But it's been all about this guy in this race. From start to finish, started on pole position, led into the first corner with a brilliant start, and has led from then, opening up a major lead. Was all he had to do in this race. Matt Allen will put himself onto the win list this season to win race 3 here at Donington Park. Second will come Chaz Cleland. What a drive from him tonight. Driver of the day, 3 podium finishes for him. Bobby Thompson, 3rd place. Another brilliant display by him. Jamie Dory, great battling from him with Dave Newsham as well, finishing 4th and 5th. Ollie Peters, a nice consistent night for him. 6th place. Matthew Addy, braving it with the big boys in that race, 7th. Mikey Doble, who championship leader coming in tonight. I'm not sure if he will be out of tonight. I will find out. But 8th place for him, gaining 11 places in that race. Stephen Daly, 2nd place in race 2, and 9th place in this race, having started 13th. And Michael Seal will round out the top 10. But Matt Allen's your winner tonight. Chaz Cleland 2nd, and Bobby Thompson in 3rd place. Well, what a night of racing it's been, and we'll get you the classified race results before we break away for the end of tonight. So there we go. They are your classified results of race 3. Matt Allen wins, Cleland 2nd, Bobby Thompson 3rd, Jamie Dory 4th, Renewsham in 5th, Peters 6th, Addy in 7th, Doble in 8th, Daly 9th, and Seal rounding out the top 10. Great nights of racing, and just to remind you of what's coming up later in the season. Next week we'll be at Lime Rock Park for round 3, the first American visit of the season. Join us in 1 week today for that. But do give Next Gen Racing a like on Facebook and all their associated channels. Join the group if you want to get involved in the racing. We'll just flash that back up for you. Next Gen spelled NXTGEN Racing. Please do also give Crest Autosport a like and subscribe on YouTube and Twitch, as we are streaming the entire season. We'll catch you next week for Lime Rock Park. Thank you for watching.